What's up, everybody? Welcome to podcast now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about the newest Rocksteady layoffs. Now, it's not the worst in the world. I feel like, we have talked about this actually before. It's not necessarily deja vu if you absolutely know for a fact. This is not as bad, right? Last time we talked, I believe, about the 50% of the QA team being just, completely dismissed. Right now, the rough number is half a dozen. That's who people have found. So, like, whether it's like traces of evidence or they've actually said online that, hey, we were let go, or whatever ended up happening. That's just what has been found right now. It could be more. If it's not more, it's not terrible. However, I would look at it as like, well, you're just kind of adding it to what you already did. I think the first wave was back in September, and then this wave, I think it was right around Christmas. People are now just kind of catching up, right, and finding it now. So, potential to be more. If not, it's not the worst thing in the world, but it is an interesting, I would say, time to do something like this. I guess, I think people that are, writing the articles and stuff on it, they're kind of saying, well, because Suicide Squad is wrapping up. And I do understand that. I guess that is the answer, right? Suicide Squad officially, this final season, this final arc that they're doing, what ends next week, a week from now or so. So, once that's over, any kind of carryover that you don't want to be carried over, people, right? People you don't want to move on to the next thing, which we'll talk about in a second. But those people, I guess, would be, something that you could take a look at and see if you need them or not. But for me, I don't know, it's a little confusing because, you're wrapping up Suicide Squad, and I get that. But when you're going towards something new, like you've got to be going towards something new, right? Now, like companies do, expand and contract and stuff. And, 3 years from now, right, as Rocksteady's getting closer, say, to whatever is next for them, they would be hiring more, and they'd have more people than what they have right now, right? This is probably the lowest, and this is what happens. This is, they have Suicide Squad that did stuff to them, right? Like, that's something you can't ignore. But generally, studios are probably at their smallest at around this time, and then you give them 2, 3, 4, 5 years, and as they get closer and closer to a game coming out, they are at their peak. They're at their absolute, the highest head count, and then they drop again, and it goes back and forth. I would just imagine that was, and I hope this is it. I guess that's also kind of what I'm trying to say. Like, once this is over, once Suicide Squad is over next week, you have thrown out, the thing that, that's kind of been like just above you hanging around this entire time. It's gone, and you can move on positively, hopefully, to, whatever is next, right? So, you do hope this is it. And if it's, I will say this, actually, if it's not it, then I think that would be a huge problem, right? If they're still losing people a year and a half from now, it's like, well, you should have started a new project by now. They should have started a new project back in like June, right, which was kind of when we first heard it. So, they should be done. They should have everybody that they're going to have at the lowest, and then over the next year or 2 years, then they start hiring for whatever that project is. As I've said a few times on the channel, I really think it should be an Arkham game. I know that seemingly is controversial. I get it. Maybe you don't want them to touch the Arkham franchise ever again. I can actually understand that quite a bit. I just think, safety and franchise, okay? While the people that are still there might not have actually ever worked on an Arkham game before, the name Rocksteady is associated. I think you got to think about it as like a rebound game. I think they have to think about it as a rebound game. It would be interesting to see if they just kind of go take a hard left and whatever they would randomly come up with in that case. But I think the safest thing to do would be go back to the well, do an Arkham game. We just saw with Arkham Shadow that you can still do it. You can find a perfect time period in there, tell a story, make a game, right? That would be pretty successful, or at least pretty liked. It is definitely possible. You can't say it's not possible. Maybe for that group, but we'll see. Again, I think it's like a test period that they need to prove themselves, and I think Arkham is probably the best way they can do it. So hopefully, the layoffs are over, and this will be, again, the smallest that they'll ever be, and then we can kind of build up from here. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Make sure, as always, you're subscribed to the channel, bell icon turned on, and I hope to see you all on the next one.